Good evening, everybody. What's up? This is Gina Ifoe, the one and only African superstar, back at it again. What's up, family? Yes, yes, yes. How are you guys doing today? I want to say thank you, as always, to the continued support of the African Superstar platform. Obviously, without you, we wouldn't be here. I do want to remind you guys I have an upcoming show here in London on November 30th, and I would love to see my UK based African Superstar family come out and turn up. The details are on the community tab and also the link to book your free tickets. So the show is November 30th from, I think doors open at like 6 p.m. until maybe about 11 p.m. It's not a long show, not a long night, Saturday night. So please do come out and see your African superstar. Today I want to talk about this topic because this is something that I have realized on multiple occasions. I have realized that there's really not a lot of differentiation between those that are extraordinary and those that are not. But there are some critical things that people that are considered to be extraordinary do and their mentality. So we're going to talk about it today. Big shout outs to the family. If you are here in the building, in the chat room, make sure you greet, like the stream, share, be a part of the conversation, and support if you so feel inclined. Big shout outs to the African Superstar family. So today I was watching an interview from this very decorated um, public figure named David Goggins. And if you're not too familiar with him, he is definitely somebody who is worth looking into and learning about his story. And he shares with a lot of public figures in regards to having a, a somewhat traumatic upbringing, Um, his family, there was domestic violence, that impacted both him and his mother and things like that growing up, and it obviously really really shaped him as a young man and led to his overall success because there came a point in his life where he decided that he really wanted to face his fears and address what was going on in his life instead of just turning a deaf eye. And in my opinion, this is what contributes to people being extraordinary. If we're honest, we all have a story to tell. You know, a lot of us have unfortunate disappointments. We have loss, we have abandonment, we have divorce, we have racist encounters, we have violence or domestic violence, and these things in our past. Okay, some people have faced drug addictions, homelessness, and all kind of things. But one thing about the extraordinary person is they will compel themselves to overcome the obstacles that they are presented with, or maybe even the obstacles that are not their own doing. Like this man, David Goggins, he was discussing in some of the interviews that I saw about him, that the abuse started in his single digit years, and there was one instance when his dad was assaulting his mom that he decided to, kind of stand up to his dad, and he said he was around 7 or 8. So sometimes, and a lot of times, if we're honest, the things that we're facing are not even our own created problems. When we look at, for instance, if we want to talk about maybe the racial construct, if you're born and raised in England, you're born and raised in Canada, you're born and raised in America, you did nothing to place yourself in that environment. Okay. You did absolutely nothing to merit whatever circumstances that you are facing. However, the extraordinary people will look at the dynamics and they will often make that decision along with implementation to change their circumstances. And that alone is what makes someone extraordinary and what makes other people ordinary. Because, like I said, we all have things that we can say, I can't perform. I have been disadvantaged. I started from the bottom. I went through this, I went through that. The extraordinary person is going to say, yes, I've experienced those things. Yes, I'm going through those things. Yes, the odds are all stacked against me. But guess what? I'm going to take up my, it makes me think of that parable in the Bible. Take up your mat and walk. When I think it was, I can't remember the character's name, but he had gone to the pool by Bathsheba, and Jesus told him to pick up your bed and walk. And the guy was like a disabled, but he had been healed. The point is that that's that's how simple it really is, guys. Big shout outs to ATM International, first one in the chat room. I see you. Please be on code if you're here today, if you're happy to see the one and only African superstar. There are specific behaviors and mentalities of those that are considered extraordinary. I can't tell you how many times people have reached out to me or told me in person or told me through emails, I'm fascinated with you. You really inspire me. You motivate me. You are providing an example. And for a long time, I would just be like, I am just an everyday girl. That's really how I see it. I mean, I'm not someone who has the big, huge ego of who I am and all this stuff. Um, but the reality is, I look at life, look at the problems that I face and try to devise practical and strategic way forward, you know, to get myself out of these circumstances. And in doing that, you become someone who really, really stands out. And it's a shame that that's all that it takes. That's a shame that is, basically you being a man or woman of your word, you know, you finishing your breakfast, as Jay-Z says, finishing everything that's on your plate before you go worrying about what the next person is doing on their plate. You know, extraordinary people. Now, some people are very talented, have great voice, great athletic ability, stunning looks. They're very creative, they're very innovative. True. But I would say that, and if you guys agree with this statement, let me see a number one in the chat room. Most of the extraordinary people that we actually see and have become known or famous or whatnot are people that have overcome hardships. Those are usually the people that get put into that extraordinary bucket because they had every excuse not to perform. They had a lot of obstacles that were there, but they refused to let those things be the determining factor in their life. And they decided, I mean, we've seen a lot of um, disabled people, you know, without limbs, without their sight, without hearing, be able to rise themselves up in society, become productive, do things that their doctors and their families and society has told them will be impossible. That's extraordinary behavior. Now, how this message relates to you guys on this channel is you don't even have all the odds stacked up against you like some of these other people, yet you are not performing. Huh? I just have to tell you. That's what this channel is all about. Shout outs to family members who participated in the trivia question. Okay, the trivia question was, if you agree, let me see a number one. Most of the extraordinary people that are even out there, get put on talk shows, become public figures, win Nobel Peace Prizes and all that, are people that have overcome hardships. That's kind of the test. Okay, now all of you guys, if I ask everybody who's viewing right now, have you faced some hardships? Are you even facing a hardship right now? All of you guys, if you were on code, would say yes. Yes, African superstar, I have faced a hardship. There's not one of you guys that has been smooth sailing all your life. No. So what does that mean? That means that you actually have the components potentially to even become an extraordinary person because you face hardships. And hardships is the determinant because hardships is going to show what you're made of as a man or a woman. Okay? Hardships are going to confront your marriage, and you're going to decide to proceed or back up. Hardships are going to confront your dreams. Hardships are going to confront your business. Hardships are going to confront your health, your finances, your children. Okay? Everything you want to do in this world, you will meet a subsequent hardship on that journey. Are you going to stand, or are you not going to stand? You know? And for those of us that are leaders, we know that when we start standing up, we get like legendary status among our friends, among our families, among our colleagues. Sometimes it goes beyond that, and then you get well known in society. You become a speaker, you become a public figure, you become an author or whatever, motivational speaker, whatever. You start getting known because what? Because when you were faced with hardships, you chose to stand up. You also, when you got knocked down, when you faced failure, loss, setbacks, divorce, job loss, financial issues, you got back up like a phoenix. When you had weight problem, weight gain, you got some kind of illness, you said, okay, I'm not going to let those things dominate in my world. That's what makes people extraordinary, guys, and that's what makes others not extraordinary. People are going to want to know what you did to survive. They're going to want to know how you did it. How did you overcome? It's really a simple answer, but I do realize that taking strategic action is a challenge for the majority of society. No, people don't want to be responsible. They don't want to do anything. They just want the sweet outcome without the work. And that's why it's so mystifying to them how you did it. Like, how did you do this? People will talk about me being a world traveler. Well, how did you do it? I mean, I, for one, do not find it that complicated. It's not like I'm going into, a country where there's like sanctions or embargoes, or there's an ongoing conflict, like I'm some kind of, journalist going to Afghanistan. I mean, bro, I went online, booked a ticket, paid for the hotel, whatever, brought myself to the airport on time, used my passport and boarded and flew and went. It's not rocket science. In my opinion, it's something that is very, very easy and attainable for anyone to do. People always use the excuse, well, everybody can afford. That honestly, I'm sorry, that is just a big excuse. If I have to be honest with you, it's just a big excuse, because every last one of us in here know that we can't afford what we want, even if our current budget doesn't look like it can permit. How many of you guys have raised money for down payments for houses, cars? Hello. How many of you have paid student loans? Some people, your student loans didn't cover your whole tuition, so you had to work a part-time job, or you had to do this and that. Some ladies become strippers, you know to afford their future aspirations. Hello. When people say, well, I can't afford, it is a load of BS, because if you really, really, really want to do something and you're serious, you will overcome the hardships, guys. You will overcome the hardships. This message I want to have with you before the close of this year, for you to reflect upon, why am I stagnant in my life? Why am I not achieving? Why do I still have this laundry list of the same damn things that I've been talking about for the last decade, and I have not achieved or ticked anything off? Why? The difference between extraordinary people and ordinary people is the extraordinary people confront and overcome their hardships. The reality is that there are people right now doing more than you, more than me, with less resources, with more hardships. with more stacked up against them. They're performing more. Why? Because they are standing up and overcoming and persisting. And matter of fact, I'll give you another pro tip. Big shout outs to the family. I'm going to start shout outs. If you're here, please make sure you go into the chat room so I can greet you in a moment. Hello. Community tab, you know, chat room, comment engagement is very vital and important. So please be a part of our conversation today. I had a pro tip. Hold on. Let me see if I can get a break. Let me bring it back. Oh gosh. I lost my train of thought. Damn. Sorry guys. Hold on. I hope it'll come back. Hey, sorry. Had that pro tip. My bad, guys. Sorry. My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. But basically, you know, that's the difference between the extraordinary and the ordinary people is they stand up and overcome their difficulties, and that is how they do it. You know, being a critical thinker, being a problem solver, being a man or woman of your word, these simple things, you know, I'm sorry, in my opinion, I think it's very simple, is what is going to catapult you into legendary status, because people are going to know that you're about that life. People are going to know you can be trusted. People are going to, you know, invest in you, do business with you, you know, whatever, patronize your services, because they know, because you've established that track record. They're going to know that you're serious. They're going to know that your word means something. You know, you cannot let the persistent obstacles of life prohibit you from going forward. We all have reasons. We all have background stories. We all have obstacles that we could use as the basis as to why we are non-productive. You know, you need to assess your situation and say, okay, what you know, what is the meaning of this? Big shout out to the African superstar family. Yes. What makes a person extraordinary and what makes a person ordinary? You know, and the beauty about being a man or woman of your word is, even if maybe you have an unreliable past, if you decide that, okay, now I'm, you know, I'm really want to be a responsible person, I really want to be a successful person, I really want to be a productive person, you can change it by taking action. That's all you have to do. The things you say, you just need to back it up. If you can't do certain things, you don't need to speak it out and make those commitments and promises. Very, very simple, guys. Very simple. Okay, family. Let me go ahead and get in the chat room since I lost my pro tip. My bad. I'm so sorry about that. I'm sure when I watch the playback, I'll recall it. What's up? What's up, family? All right. ATM International's in the building, guys. If you're here, make sure you like the stream and be a part of the conversation tonight. I'm talking about what differentiates, you know, a extraordinary person from an ordinary person. What I have deduced, what is one of the common denominators, you know, is basically taking your destiny into your own hands and saying, okay, this is what, you know, maybe I started here, all right, but this is what I want my future to look like. And taking the necessary steps and being relentless with those goals. You know, I mean, just being like the way I am about my life in Africa, the way I'm steadfast about my life in Africa, weathering every obstacle. I'm talking about heartbreaks, you know, money issues, cultural differences, you know, all kind of stuff I've been through in these last 4 years in my life in Ghana. But I literally am resilient that I'm going to find my way on my African path. That's something that I'm going to do irrespective. And if you have that mentality, you will have success in anything that you do. Because that just means that you are ready for the unforeseen. You're ready for those problems to potentially confront you, because SMP, the mission statement of this platform, strategy, maturity, and patience. We already know there's going to be problems. Okay, that's the maturity. That's the M in SMP. Okay, maturity is knowing that problems are going to come. Yes. And that everything is not always going to be smooth and rosy and all that. That's maturity. We already know problems are going to come off rip. So when you are planted like a tree next to the water, hallelujah. When you're planted like that, when the storms come, you have you seen the palm trees in Florida say, you know what, I'm tired of this hurricane season. You know, every time it comes, my leaves get scattered all around, and these hurricanes just whip me left and right. Have you ever seen a hurricane just, I mean, a palm tree just uproot itself and walk across the freeway? Say, you know what, bump that. I'm moving to, Ohio. I'm going to Mississippi. I'm tired of all this, hurricane season. No. So a tree planted next to the water. That's the illustration I'm giving you. That's also comes from the Bible as well. A tree next to the water is very steadfast. It's going to endure storms year in and year out. But the tree is there. The tree is planted. The tree has roots. Big shout outs, family. All right. Doing shout outs. Big shout outs to Matrell on a mission. Very good to see you, sweetheart. Big shout outs to Michael O. He's in the building with me today. Yes. Make sure you like the stream, guys. ATM International says, yes. I go through hardships all the time. I always feel like my back is against the wall, and it actually makes me grind harder. ATM International, I concur. This is how I live life. I always feel like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know the way forward. I don't know how I'm going to make it happen. I don't know how I'm going to afford it, you know. And I always feel that way, you know. But again, the mindset is a big part of it. You know, when I get into these um scenarios, for instance, I compel myself to high performance. I tell myself, Gina, you can figure something out. Put your brain to it. You are capable. You have also a long track record. Hello, I'm not going to get on the track record today. But that's when you can also bring out your track record. If you are a perpetual winner, perpetual winner, perpetual, mover and shaker, innovator, champion, when you have a lot of wins and success in your past, you bring out your track record in moments of chaos and confusion. And even sometimes whatever you've gone over in the past was even bigger than maybe whatever's confronting you at the right now. Huh? A lot of us, we should be in that mode now, because we are not fresh little kids. All right. We're adults. Some of this stuff we've experienced it before. Okay. We've had breakups in the past. Huh? We've had job loss in the past. We've had financial issues in the past. Hello. We've had just drama, just general drama and problems in the past that we've already overcome. So by now, you should be, when certain things come, I know it may still be disappointing. It might be frustrating to you, but you should be like, I've been through this before. I've been through this before. So I can't, it's not like the first time. That first heartbreak is like changes your life. That first instance of racism, you're like, oh my God, what happened to me? But as time goes, you're like, you know what? And even like ATM International says, you take it and you say, you know what, this is why. So, like, for instance, when I'm in the Western setting and I start encountering or dealing with stuff I don't like, I'm like, you know what, this is why I need to make sure that life works for me in Africa. Because I don't want to put up with this and that. I don't want to put up with this weather. I don't want to put up with these folks. And I don't want to put up with these politics and these dynamics. I need to make something happen and compel yourself to high performance using your track record as the basis that you are capable. All right. Big shout outs to the family. Matrell on a mission says people can afford whatever they want. Yes, sorry. If you're one of those people where I mean, everybody can't afford Africa. Everybody can afford to travel. It's a cop out. All right. And it doesn't fly on this channel. We don't make excuses for that, because actually people can afford what they want. Where there's a will, there's a way. All right. And sometimes, again, compelling yourself to performance, looking at your situation. All right. Shout outs to my daddy. Rest in peace. My daddy taught me how to make decisions. He showed me a very simple method, which I talk about sometimes here on the channel. It's the pro and con list. All right. So when you're making a difficult decision, and you can't weigh stuff, you just do a pro and con. Okay, these are the benefits of this and this and this and this. So let's say you're saying, okay, you know what? Do I need a new car? Should I buy a car? All right. You're going to say, okay, here's the pros. Got transportation. I don't have to deal with the public transportation. I can get up and go whenever I want to. But then you start looking at the cons. I'm going to have to start paying car insurance. I got to worry about parking because I live in the big city. There's been a rash of break-ins last, couple months, this and that and the other. Petrol keeps going up. And then you're going to look at the two and you're going to say, ooh, you know what? The cons outweigh the pros. Another way of making decisions is, writing things down and looking at it in an aerial view is also very powerful. So, for instance, if you are into budgeting and you do your budget, all right, and if you get like detailed with your budgeting and actually accurate and honest with your budgeting, and you're like, you know what, I'm wasting, extra 40, $50 a day or something like that. Because I take out food for lunch every day and I always have coffee in the mornings. And then, I spend money here and there. I spend probably $5 at the vending machine every day. And you're looking at that. Okay. And I'm buying wine every other day. That's $10 here and there. You start looking at this budget and you're realizing, wow, I have quite a bit of expendable money that I could shave off. Or you start looking at, I've got this Netflix account, I've got this HBO account. I barely even use it. I've got a gym membership, I don't go. I've got this extra insurance for my iPhone, because obviously the Western world we live in is all based on consumerism. And they're always trying to sell us stuff we don't need. And then we have all these unnecessary services and it's siphoning our money. So, I could go on and on and on and on this point. But at the end of the day, if you really want something, you will be strategic on how to do that. You will start figuring out, you'll cut back, you'll sacrifice, you'll readjust to be able to accommodate your dreams and your wishes. Big shout outs to the family. ATM International, your word means everything. What's up, Wildflower? I see you there. Today I'm talking about the difference between extraordinary people and ordinary people. Okay? It's being about that life. It's being about it. It's being for real. At this stage of the game, I 100% people know my word is bond. Anybody who knows me, and even people who don't know me but know me via social media, they know that I have a I have a perpetual track record of delivering it. You know, putting the pedal to the metal. And although I really do not perceive myself currently as an extraordinary person, I really don't. I know I'm an iconic status. I know that because that has been acknowledged from other people. You know what I mean? It's not me singing my praises, it's others singing my praises because of what I have achieved and how I walk and live my life. And one of those people being my own mother. My own mother called me iconic. My own mother told me, you're a leader, you're a mover and shaker. Among my audience, among other people I have come in contact with. So, this is the common denominator that I have seen. And I'm actually so inspired by extraordinary people, because some of them have really crazy circumstances that they had to face. You know, and if you notice, their story is what also makes them extraordinary. So once you overcome something that other people have not either experienced or other people make the cop out, now you have the story of discussing how you overcame it. And people write books and they become speakers and they host seminars and all that kind of stuff about just telling the story of how they didn't give up, how they survived, how they overcame their circumstances. And I just think this is I was in my thoughts today as I was watching this interview with the man, David Goggins. And I was like, you know what? Be encouraged on your walk, guys. Be encouraged on your journey, especially to my leaders and my movers and shakers. Please be encouraged. You know, all you need to do is keep on persisting. That is the difference between the extraordinary and the ordinary. All right. Keep on standing up on your 2 feet, looking your difficulties in the eye and addressing them and solving it. Now again, S&P, our mission statement, is going to tell you that problems, they never stop. We will be facing problems for the rest of our lives. All right. It doesn't stop until we go in the grave. But if you want to be extraordinary, neither should your resolve to live. Okay. You should just face your problems. You shouldn't be waiting on the government and you're waiting on white Jesus and you're hoping for good karma and vibes and you're doing all. No. It really boils down to you making those decisions and you walking it out. You've been telling a lot of people stuff you want to do, which again, on this channel, we promote you to move in silence. You shouldn't be talking and broadcasting whatever. But if you have been and you are not backing it up with some tangible actions, you are a fraudster, you are a hypocrite. All right. And that is not extraordinary behavior. Extraordinary behavior, and a lot of times, is you don't even talk. You don't discuss anything. You don't petition anybody, or I need some advice. You don't do that. A lot of times the extraordinary people just kind of move forward. And don't mistake this for a lack of fear or just being fearless or invincible. Nah, because a lot of us, when you move forward, you are nervous. You are scared. That's where contingency plans come in, where you're like, okay, I'm about to get out here on this limb. I want it to work out. I hope it works out. But just in case it doesn't, okay, this is my second B, C, D, backup plans. This is my emergency fund. This is what I'm going to do. That's where you put in your contingencies to kind of deal with potentially your fear and the fallout of whatever you are pursuing. But guys, you know, that's the difference. That's the difference. Some of you guys even have remarkable stories, I'm sure. I'm sure you do. Hardships you've already overcome, crazy situations, places you were in. I watched, I think I told you guys I watch a lot of these survival type stories, you know what I mean? And there's this channel here on YouTube. It's called Outdoor Disasters. And it talks about, people that were mountain climbing, and then some people actually die on the episodes, but some people were just in really, really challenging, dangerous, impossible situations. And for one reason or another, they survived. Whatever. So the channel's quite interesting if you're into those kind of survival stories. And there was one particular one that was just unbelievable, really. So this guy went out on this mountain, and apparently the weather on mountains is very inclement. I wouldn't know because I don't do the mountain climbing. I've only been on one mountain, and it was summertime in South Africa. And, I didn't do the dangerous kind of mountain. I just took a little pathway up. But anyway, this guy was on a dangerous ass mountain somewhere, Colorado, Idaho, somewhere like that. Anyway, so he was on this mountain and there was a shower, like a rain shower. And then suddenly the temperature dropped. Okay. And it made the surface of the mountain extremely slippery. Well, apparently he kind of had just decided on the fly to do this mountain. He didn't have all the right equipment and all the gear and all that stuff. So he went up on this mountain. When it got slippery, he had a fall. All right. Slips down the side of the mountain. I mean, this is insane. And he falls into this like crevice. All right. That was like 40 feet tall, bro. So he falls into this crevice. Okay. And he's literally, I think he knocks out for a while and he comes to eventually. And he looks up and he sees this crevice and he's just thinking about, the reality that he's on this mountain. Nobody knows he is there. It's getting ready to be nighttime. And he doesn't have the gear and all this kind of stuff. And so he records his like goodbye video on his cell phone while he's in this crevice because he thinks, okay, well, eventually if they find my remains and they charge up my phone, maybe they can get this message to my parents. So after he does that, he's down there and he's like, you know what? I'm going to try to get myself out of here. So he happens to have, I think, like a pick or something like that in his backpack, like a little ice pick. And he starts straddling his way up out of this crevice. I mean, it's just like a remarkable, incredible story. So he gets himself out the crevice. And he said that obviously he had some injuries because it was a crazy fall. But he was working on adrenaline, so he wasn't really feeling all the pains and stuff like that. Well, once he got out of the crevice, from where he was to the campsite was like almost 2 miles away. So he had to get himself to the campsite. And he did it. He ended up having like a broken vertebrae. He had a lot of injuries once he got there, but when he got to the campsite, he was able to they were able to contact rescue people. I tell you guys all this stuff to say, sorry, it was a long, but I mean, have you ever been in a crevice? Have you ever fallen down the side of a mountain? No. I'm willing to barter of my whole chat room. None of you have been in that situation. And yet you don't perform. And you've got to realize that, it comes from you. Like everything comes from you. I know we've been raised to believe other things, that things come from the external. We use the external as a benchmark of our performance, you know, our endeavors, our success. But really, it's you who sets that tone and decides that, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. This is my life's journey. And it is really scary and it is really unfamiliar for us to think about that all of that is our decision to make, because a lot of us are thinking, oh, it's the government controls the decisions that impact my daily life, or it's God, it's spiritual, I need God to shine down on me. It's about you guys, and that's how you can determine if you're going to be extraordinary or ordinary. All right, it's the ball is in your court. you know. Big shout out family. All right, I'm going to finish up with these couple comments. We only have a couple in here. Yes. It's all good. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Mature on a mission. When I was talking about budgeting earlier, being able to make money out of no money, a lot of times you can look at your expenses. She says, yes, subscriptions can cause problems if you do not watch them closely. Montreal says, I'm a sea and ocean girl. Mountains are a no for me. Yay. Sweetberry 32, what's up? What's up? What's up? Girl, I don't think ever. I really just can't see it. I mean, I know some people like the thrill. They go to like Mount Everest and they go to, but I feel like it's an unnecessary risk. Like, yeah, I mean, even if you go to visit the mountain, I feel like looking at it from afar is fantastic. Wow, look at the tallest mountain in the world. Look at Everest. Look at what's that mountain in there? What's that mountain in Japan, guys? Is it Yagasaki? What's that mountain? Oh man, I can't think of it. Can anybody think of that mountain that's in there's a really tall mountain in Japan. Can y'all think of what it's called? I want to say it starts with a Y. Oh goodness. Fiji. Thank you. Man, y'all be on it. Y'all be on it. Thank you. I was wrong. It doesn't start with a Y, but yes, Fiji is exactly the one. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure to look at them is amazing. Some of you guys have visited mountains. I've only seen Lion's Head so far in Cape Town, which is the one I was on. And they're awesome. They're awesome to look at, but there's just nothing in me that's like, yeah, let me get to that peak. Uh-uh. And there's so many like subsequent risks with climbing mountains, like the air density and all that kind of stuff. I'm so straight. I'm so straight, you know. Not into the mountains, fam. They're very beautiful. I'm sure it's fascinating. Can't say I won't see one. I mean, maybe I might see one day, like a big one, but you know. But anyway, at the end of the day, this message is meant to kind of encourage you guys. You may also have figures in your mind where you just see them on these pedestals and you're just like, oh my God, this person is so remarkable. This person is so incredible. If you look at that person's history, kind of dig into the inception of who they are, you will see that there was a turning point where they decided, I need to stand up to my circumstances or stand up to my fears, or I need to take control and initiative in my life. And that's when they became an extraordinary person. That's when their path was shifted, you know. Now, obviously I know that taking action is not easy. It's a lot easier to just talk nonsense that you don't have to back up. It's a lot easier to not be accountable, and it's a lot easier to give, talk prosperity, talk sweet things that you don't actually do. But you can't get the gratification unless you achieve. The achievement is what gives you that gratification, you know, because it's actually been done. It's not just a fantasy. If you're just talking about what you want to do or how you feel, that's what you're working with. You know what I'm saying? So big shout out to the African Superstar family. Thank you for everybody who's here. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Big shout out to the chat room. You guys was on it, active today. Although we got over 20 y'all. I didn't see all 20 y'all in the chat room, but I do appreciate those of you that were there and really relatively good engagement today. All right, family. Again, to my UK based viewers, I have an upcoming show here in London, November 30th. So it's a few weeks away, Saturday night. Huh? So come on out and see your African superstar in person. What's up, Timothy Lucas? I see you there, sweetheart. Thank you for coming in. Last but not least, yes. And you have to get the playback, Timothy. If you guys see the playback, leave your comments in the box below, okay? And if you're interested in coming to my show, just go to the community tab. The link is there for you to book your free ticket. Um, Tickets are available until capacity, or even if you have a ticket but the place gets to capacity before you get there, unfortunately you won't be able to get there. I think doors are open at 6. So, don't come on African time, okay? Come on UK time. Because I don't want any African superstar family to be left out if you have come out and made arrangements to see me live at the Live in London show November 30th. Okay, family? All right. I will see you again very soon. Much love to you guys. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.